Yo, what up? Don't mind me. I'm just still getting set up here. Never officially set up in time for this show. I don't know. Something's wrong with me. I don't know what it is. But what's up, hoop heads? Merry Draft Eve. Very, very, very excited right now. If you don't know me yet, I'm JB with Undrafted Hoops, and welcome to another edition of Undrafted Hoops Offseason Block Party. It's going to be a 30 minutes on 30 teams. This is our fourth team. We're pretty excited about it. But before we get started, I want to give a shout out to the Let's Talk Sports Network and the Hardcore Sports Network for bringing us on board to spit hoops chatter and talk a lot of shit on their networks. Also, Facebook and Twitter, Undrafted Hoops, and at Undrafted Hoops _. You catch all the news. We try to be up to date, up to the minute with breaking news. We like to do comparisons and constructive opinion pieces surrounding the league. You know, that was our original platform, was Facebook, and now we're on Twitter. And the reason why we started was we really wanted to change the narrative that is so toxic when covering the NBA. And that's been our basis on there. And also, don't forget, and don't make me tell you twice, smash that subscribe button on YouTube. We need your support, just like anybody else. With that being said, I got to bring the man on. I ain't got the Sasquatch tonight. He's in the comments. But Josh, my man Isles, coming on the screen tonight. Oh, my God. I might start charging for the next show.
What's up, dude?
What's up, brother? Very excited to finally get you on, man.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited to be on.
Let me ask you a question. Out of all the shows you could have came on, you picked the goddamn Charlotte Hornets to make the.
It's draft time, baby. It's draft.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, draft time does bring it out, especially with the bad teams. You know, the bad teams are picking first.
Oh, before we lose track of it, I got to brag on my shirt.
Oh, look at that! One of the best duos in basketball history.
Behind.
No, nobody. They're 1-2.
Nobody.
They're behind nobody, brother. And then, we also have a third guest tonight. Wizard Gary in the building.
What's up, fellas? It's a special night tonight when you got Josh here.
Yeah, very special.
Always a great night when we have him here.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'm pumped up. But look, let's dive right in. 5 minutes into the show. We're going to touch on the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Obviously, that's in our graphics here. And obviously, the number 2 pick is all the buzz, right? Everybody's geared up. I mean, we all know who's going 1. It's Victor Wembanyama. And the overall, everybody just assumed it was going to be Scoot. Everybody just said, if you don't get Victor, they're going to go Scoot. Well, the Hornets don't do that kind of shit. The Hornets say, we're just going to do whatever we want. And Gary's been pumping this Brandon Miller rumor that the odds went up on Brandon Miller. Tell me a little bit of Gary, what you heard with the Hornets and what they're looking to do at the second pick.
I mean, pretty much leading up until about last night, the odds have shifted back and forth, but mostly been in favor of Scoot going second. Like, I mean, he was minus 200, I believe, or minus 250 just as recently as June 20th. So now all of a sudden tonight, it's shifted to minus 400 in favor of Brandon Miller. It makes sense, I guess, in needs, because Brandon Miller is a small forward type of player. He's he can play around LaMelo, but Scoot seems to be the clear, more talented guy that makes the most sense. Like, you don't pass up on a player like him. The only reason he's not going first is because of Victor. So I don't know. I mean, nothing's set in stone, obviously, and anything can happen tomorrow night, So we'll see. It is the Hornets.
Well, it's funny because Jesse just commented too, and Jesse says he likes the fit. You had mentioned the Hornets preferring him, his fit for their team. 6'9" small forward, who can shoot the ball. The thing with the Hornets are they are just so bad. Like, for me, looking in, that fit doesn't matter to me. I'm taking the best player with the highest ceiling. Now, they might see something in Brandon Miller that I don't. I love Scoot, and it would be crazy for them to pass on him. Josh, I'm kind of curious. Are you kind of what's your if you're the GM of the Hornets, what's your approach? Are you really targeting fit on a team that is so far removed from, say, a top 4 seed in the East? Would you be looking for a fit, or are you just best available, highest ceiling player?
I think it's from their perspective, and just looking at like the Brandon Miller situation. If they really, really like him, alongside of Lonzo and that fit, just because Lonzo's point guard and Scoot's more of a point guard. So maybe they like the Brandon Miller fit like that, just for the sake of literally their next star player, but not the rest of the roster. But if that's the case, then are they weighing their options to just slide back to 3? And because can they get anything? Like, I feel like this Brandon Miller news coming out almost hurts their flexibility with that pick. You know what I mean? Because Scoot's the number 2 player in this draft, right? I think most people would say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my consensus. Yeah, that's been the consensus since the Victor hype train kind of took off and people were really able to see what his capabilities are. I originally was thinking maybe the Hornets, if I'm Charlotte, I'm maybe thinking about moving up, but there really isn't too much flexibility. The only way Charlotte can really move is to move back 5 or 6 or 7 and bring somebody else on and take a guy more targeted in that range.
Yeah.
But
to me, I think it makes more sense. If Miller makes more sense.
Yes. In terms of fit, and Gary is right. If your best player, the Hornets don't have a lot of future guys. If your best player is your point guard, it would make no sense to go out and get another point guard. And Scoot is bona fide point guard coming into this league. Gary, I wanted to ask you a question. Just 1 year ago, the Charlotte Hornets, they won, I think, 43 games, right? This season, they lose Miles Bridges, obviously. Yes, but they lose Miles Bridges, and the wheels fall off. Hayward gets hurt, and they win 27 games. NBA.com released a mock draft with Miller too. Him and LaMelo will do good together. Do you see a guy like a Brandon Miller coming to this team, and the Hornets get Bridges back, and the chemistry kind of sparks again, and Rozier, and maybe go out and get somebody? Like, is it me, or do they feel like miles away from the 43 wins again? Like, for me, it just feels like it's so unobtainable.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even with Brandon Miller, they're still going to be a ways away. I mean, even if they took Scoot, it's the East and the NBA in general has gotten so much more talented. If you go and look at this year, the 8th seed in the East represented the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. So you got to just, if you want to look at it that way, how close is Charlotte to even being possible to being a Miami? Like you said, probably miles and miles away. There's no way they can do that. We're talking about, can they even get to the end of the playoffs?
First round.
Yeah, I mean, they made the first round that year with Bridges, but LaMelo stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Everything depended on health that year. This year they had so many injuries. Hayward was hurt. LaMelo was hurt for half the season on and off. They got a very great offensive style, but they also allow 150 points. So it puts them in tough positions to ever really win. And Brandon Miller's another young kid who wants to take 20, 25 shots a night, and it's going to take some time for him to get efficient in the NBA. So they're probably still a long ways away and going to go through a learning curve here of a lot of losing.
Yeah, they're definitely at a point where they have to start picking a direction within this roster because, for instance, last year Terry Rozier played well. LaMelo, PJ Washington. They're losing Kelly Oubre, and Gordon Hayward looked good in spots when he was healthy, but that's literally the story of his life. Josh, let me ask you: Would you think this is the season where you maybe start to dust off some of the older guys? Like I said, Kelly Oubre's gone, but Gordon Hayward. How much money does he have left on his contract? Is he even expiring?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let me look real quick. I don't think he's not expiring. He has one more year in his deal, 31
just this year.
Yeah. Just this year.
Yeah, so his deal is expiring.
He's expiring, yeah, sorry. I guess that's like a situation with Hayward where you could try and see what you could get back for him since he's going to probably walk anyways. But, I mean, what's the return? I think you almost just hold on to him for the final year and hope he stays healthy, honestly.
Yeah, or even to the point where if he played 50 games last year for the Hornets, that's not enough. But if they get to the point where they become competitive and they could try to win some games, if he could gear a lot of them 50 games played towards the end of the season, that would be more beneficial to him.
Right.
But he's not the type. He's not the guy that's sitting out if he doesn't have an injury. He's pretty hard-nosed player. The guy has just been very unfortunate in his career. Just looking at their roster, they really didn't shoot the ball efficiently. Do you think that, Gary? Do you think that Charlotte could maybe possibly get into, I don't want to say like a Patrick Beverley sweepstakes, kind of like a vet guard to teach them some grit? Josh smirks at that. I love it.
Well, I mean, Patrick Beverley is not really going to teach you much about efficient shooting. If anything, he'll teach you like grit and defense. But yeah, I can understand Josh making that face there. But I mean, maybe like a Mike Conley or something like that, But I mean, he's going to want to still compete for titles. He's not old. He's still.
Carlo would have to overpay for Mike Conley.
He has one. Is he a free agent or 30 isn't expiring? Mike
No,
Conley.
I just mean somebody like his caliber. He might be
Yeah.
expiring.
That would be great. That would be a great ad. I'm a big Mike Conley guy. I just feel like a team like this. A lot of their best players are under the age of 27, and yes, we just watched the Denver Nuggets win a title with four guys under the age of 28. But this team, like Gary has said, it feels like a miles away. And that's not getting Miles Bridges back and think that you're getting any closer. I'm unsure about Charlotte because now we're hearing things come out that Michael Jordan is still able to make the decision on the draft. Have you heard it? Have you heard this, or have I just kind of, am I just still hungover from last night? Where I thought somebody had said that to me, and I was like, "How is that even possible? How do you give somebody $3 billion and still allow them to make a decision like that?"
Yeah, I'm not sure because there was the news a week or two ago about like he's selling now. He's moving on from being his ownership stake, and now he's still making the draft pick. I don't know. It's confusing. Is this
like a parting gift?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've been scouting a certain guy, all season. So why would we make the pick if you put in the effort? I mean, not that Michael Jordan's been a fucking world beater in draft picks, but
knowing MJ, he's going to take Scoot.
That's what I think it's a no-brainer. I think you're taking Scoot all the way. I just think in this league, I do like balance, and I've said that on my other shows. I do like having a guard and a forward. But with them both being under the age of 22, come on, man. Mm-hmm. You could have the best backcourt for the next 15 seasons. I don't know if LaMelo is going to be a lifer Charlotte Hornet, and I highly doubt it. But Tony G says Brandon Miller outperformed Scoot, and he thought Brandon Miller had the better workout than Scoot. Jordan is the GOAT if it's true. I don't know. Like I said, if you go by his track history, I mean, this guy made some pretty bad draft picks in his 13-year tenure as a majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets. Are you happy to see him go? Or is it are you because he has no success, or do you look at it as a negative? Like Michael Jordan just sold the majority stake in his team.
I mean, I don't really look at it as a negative. He hasn't been successful in any tenure as an owner or a front office leader, which is why I don't get why they would find it necessary to let him make the pick tomorrow. Like, besides LaMelo, what pick has he made that's been good?
None.
And LaMelo, he's lucky that the Warriors took Wiseman. It just fell in his lap. It's not like he outsmarted anybody. A guy fell to him. And here is a chance for Scoot, and he might screw that up and take Brandon Miller.
Now, you say it's not a negative. There is a few, and for me, yes, he has been a terrible GM, but for me, it's like, one, the NBA loses its only majority black-owned basketball team. That is definitely a negative to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And, half the teams got their logo, Michael Jordan's logo, on their either feet or on their jersey. So it's like, yeah, they're still going to be wearing the logo, but that guy doesn't own a team anymore. And, looking back at Charlotte, and I know this isn't necessarily an off-season move for them, to me, yes, his team was terrible, but deep down inside, like, I just can't believe he wasn't able to bring in a team, attract a dominant enough front office and head coach where it's like, yo, we want to be great for Michael Jordan's team. Like, why hasn't big name coaches ever gone there. That's kind of strange to me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying with that too, because it's what I kind of think of is like it makes me think of like Michael Jordan, the teammate and the competitor, and like how I don't know, just a lateral comparison of how like maybe players or coaches today like wouldn't really care for it, you know, or like think that that's an impact enough to go play for the Hornets. I don't know.
Yeah, it's never really come out. You know, he's like most of the stuff that surrounds Jordan is kind of like tight-lipped. You know, he has the Tiger Woods. You know, he's that level of fame where before the stories come out, they nip it. Part of my conspiracy to why Michael Jordan, you know, never had a real competitive basketball team is because I'm assuming he's a Jerry Jones type. You know, not to cross sports. I do see the Cincinnati Bengals in the background, Josh.
Oh, yeah,
Who they?
Who
Who they, Gary? If you don't know, Wizard Gary is a diehard Ravens fan. I have to make sure I let him know that. And he's a very sensitive Wizards fan as of late. Just a little needling because I love my man Gary. I'm very happy he's on tonight.
I had to go back out front and get that Arenas jersey out of the trash, man. You know, I got a little upset earlier. Decided to throw all the Wizard stuff away.
I can see. It looks like you tried to light it on fire.
I did, man.
Some whiskey.
Had that for years now.
So Gary, I pulled up. You know, we were talking about Miles Bridges, and you know, I kind of wrote him off after last season because you know I wasn't sure. It was so unsure what was coming out and what his suspension would look like. You know, just looking at his stats, he averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and almost a block and a steal a game. I mean, that's significant. And I was a huge fan of him coming out of Michigan State because I love Tom Izzo. That dude breeds tough basketball players. So in terms of like toughness, you know, Bridges coming back is going to significantly make a difference. Just do you anticipate like there to be some rust with him, like right out of the gate?
I mean, naturally, missing an entire year, you're going to have a little rust. But, I mean, he's still young. I'm sure he was active through that whole year. He's been practicing, staying active. At least that's my hope, you know what I mean? But
yeah, absolutely.
I think he'll be able to come back. He's going to get plenty of minutes right out of the gate. He'll get right back in the groove and probably be their second best player again, right beside LaMelo. I mean, if Bridges can come back with Charlotte, I think he can help them get to maybe like the 12th, 11th best team. Maybe there'll be a few games out of the playoffs. But he's definitely capable of bumping up from 20 points to like 22, 23 in a season. And he gets a lot of rebounds. He's a big impact player, in my opinion.
So with him coming back, it's definitely going to I want to say impact the team. But looking at some of their other, I want to say options, they really dropped the ball on Martin. You know, he they let him go to Miami, and he really shined, and he would be incredible on this Charlotte team. He honestly would be really good with this team, with what you've seen from him. PJ Washington also had a pretty good season, and I'm looking at he's a free agent. That's pretty. I didn't know that he didn't get an extension. I'm looking at his salary now. He didn't get an extension, so he's probably unrestricted now.
Yeah, most likely.
He had some big games for that.
A contender could definitely scoop him up to play, a good 10 minutes off the bench for them. He was contributing pretty well last year.
10 minutes. He's going to go get 20 minutes somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's
but I'm
just saying if he gets
played 32 minutes a game last year.
Yeah, for them.
Exactly.
Imagine him going to like Denver to replace Bruce Brown.
Yeah. I think he's going to get more money than that $6 million. I think Charlotte would keep him if he got kind of what he was making last year. I think he made like 10. He made $6 million last year. He's definitely going to make more than that this season. So I think
15, 20.
Yeah, I think he's going to fall into that $15 million range, 100%. Especially now, these guys are all getting paid, and for what his skill set is, most teams stretch four that can rebound a little bit, like 24 years old. You know what I mean? Like certain guys. Where's he from? Kentucky?
Yeah.
Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him at Kentucky actually. I don't really follow college basketball too much, but I remember watching him a couple times. The other thing I want to touch on is the Charlotte Hornets also have another first-round draft pick. Josh, I'm going to start with you, and I definitely want to ask you too, Gary. Just looking at their roster, what position do you see them maybe going after? Because, like we said, this team needs a lot.
Yeah.
At the 27th pick, are you going best available, or are you saying we need X position no matter who is there?
I think, in my opinion, you have to go best available unless you're like truly like overloading one spot, like you have too many point guards or whatever. But I think they need to be looking at centers.
So do I.
Yeah, and big guys. I'm not sure particularly.
They traded Plumlee last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who would be particularly there at that spot, but I think they need to look at some bigs there.
Yeah. Yeah, to even think about the 27th pick, Wednesday night before the draft, you really don't. You have no idea who's going to be there. But I agree with you. I'm locked into a center for them, at least a big stretch, maybe a big stretch four. Someone that can get down the floor. I think that's a big thing with LaMelo. I'm not saying that I need a specific role 5, like a guy that can stretch the floor and shoot, because I just think LaMelo needs a big body to kind of free him up to, open up his playmaking ability. So it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that can shoot for that team, because there's going to be so many shooters. Gary, are you on the same page as me and Josh? Or are you looking at maybe a different position? Or are you best available all the way?
I definitely think that a big is what they need. So, like you also said, it's tough to think about who's going to be there around pick 27. So many pick and trades happen in the NBA draft. You know what I mean? It would be better if they could somehow jump up to maybe like 15, trade that number 1 pick for that 27, and maybe like a second round pick next year. End up trying to get Derek Lively.
Well, I think they have 3 second rounders.
Yeah, try and package a couple of those, jump up into the teens, and get somebody who can truly, like Tony said, James Nanji. I mean, there's plenty of guys that they want that can impact them now. They'd have to probably trade up. If not, center is what they need, but they shouldn't pass on the best player when they have so many holes on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that center. A couple guys I've seen were like Lively, but he's going way higher. He's
probably
maybe
going
top
like
10.
11 at the latest.
And they got it in some of these mock drafts. They have a center Vucevic, and I've also seen. Amani Bates on this one mock draft. I haven't seen his name in a while, and they were saying, if you're Charlotte, you just take a flyer on a guy that was once, a highly touted prospect and say, fuck it, we got the guy we really wanted in, say, Miller or Scoot. Now we're just going to take a flyer on a guy with tremendous upside and kind of like no risk.
I think Bates, it's possible he goes before that pick. He's kind of jumped up after, I think he did some of the, the NBA draft training camp stuff, and they had some full court matchups, and he was looking like the old highly touted prospect that was coming out of high school. So I could see him going before that 22nd pick.
Is there anything? Look, I'm tapped out. I'm tapped out on Charlotte. We're pushing on that 30. We're trying to nail down 30 minutes. Is there anything either one of you wanted to touch on with Charlotte, or is it obviously it's still really early in the off season? I'm pretty good with them. You know,
I think they're. I'm going to commit to. I think they're going with Brandon Miller, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I think Brandon Miller is going to be their pick, but I think they just got to find a direction and stick to it, because who knows with LaMelo if he's even playing to stay there for long term. He seems like a big city, big market kind of guy. So I don't know. They got to really think about their future and build around guys that plan to be there. If not, try and get him locked up as early as possible.
Yeah. You know, originally, I'll say 10 days ago, a week ago, I was saying they're going to move out of this pick. Like, if they didn't want Scoot, I thought Scoot was such a commodity that the value of this pick, they could have netted future first or even a young player and, a top 10 pick. Like, say, a team like Toronto wanted to trade OG and, the number 8 pick or 9 pick, to move up to 2 and take Scoot. I thought that was a possibility. But now with Jordan selling the team, I think it's a safe to just pick somebody there instead of trying to get cute and rebuild for a team that you're no longer really a part of. Like, yes, he's going to be a minority owner, but, I don't know many places where the minority owners have a huge say in the future of the program. You know what I mean? So, look, I'm going to say goodbye to both of you, but we're going to be back in about 10, 15 minutes. We're going to come right back on. We're doing a doubleheader. We're talking about the number 1 pick, Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. But, Gary, talk to you soon. Peace out. Thank you for watching. Make sure. Facebook, Undrafted Hoops. Twitter, @UndraftedHoops _ changing the narrative brick by brick, talking about the NBA on both of them platforms, and YouTube. Smash the subscribe button. Peace.